Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the most explosive updates from the glamorous and ruthless world of Los Angeles fashion. Today is a day that will forever alter the landscape of the industry, as shocking betrayals and unprecedented alliances take center stage, shattering families and redefining corporate empires. The atmosphere at the grand launch event for the newly minted Logan Fashion House was nothing short of electric, vibrating with the kind of high-stakes anticipation that only a true Los Angeles industry spectacle can generate. Bill Spencer and Katie Logan Spencer had spared absolutely no expense in orchestrating a masterpiece of a debut. The venue was bathed in brilliant, cascading lights, while massive digital billboards broadcasted their triumphant new collection to the world. The flashing bulbs of the relentless paparazzi illuminated the red carpet, capturing the arrival of the city's elite. This was not just a fashion show. It was a highly calculated, aggressively executed declaration of corporate war against Forrester Creations. The tension in the room was palpable, a thick, suffocating blanket of rivalry that threatened to ignite at the slightest spark. Everyone in attendance knew the scandalous history behind the garments walking down the runway, specifically the fact that the Logan brand was utilizing the legendary, stolen designs of Eric Forrester to build their new empire. Amidst the sea of glittering socialites and hungry journalists, the Forrester contingent stood like an island of icy, aristocratic defiance. Steffy Forrester Finnegan arrived at the enemy's stronghold with her head held high, dripping in bespoke couture and an unmistakable aura of condescension. She had come to the Logan launch not to celebrate, but to sneer, fully expecting the entire endeavor to collapse into a humiliating disaster. Beside her stood Brooke Logan Forrester, whose presence was a turbulent storm of internal conflict. Brooke was deeply torn between the biological loyalty she owed her sister Katie and the fierce, protective devotion she felt toward her husband's legacy at Forrester Creations. Only recently, the escalating feud between the sisters had reached a terrifying, violent peak when Brooke physically slapped Katie across the face in a bitter dispute over corporate loyalty. Now, standing in the heart of the Logan empire, Brooke and Steffi presented a united, impenetrable front, ready to witness what they believed would be the spectacular failure of their greatest rivals. As the pulsating runway music gently faded into a dramatic, suspenseful silence, the main spotlight shifted, cutting through the darkness to illuminate the center podium. The murmuring crowd hushed instantly, their eyes locked on the stage, fully expecting the ruthless billionaire Bill Spencer to step forward and deliver a smug, triumphant monologue about his latest conquest. However, the silhouette that emerged from the shadows did not belong to the publishing magnate, nor did it belong to the radiant Katie Logan. The collective gasp that rippled through the massive ballroom was deafening as the legendary dressmaker himself, Ridge Forrester, stepped up to the microphone. The sheer visual of the Forrester patriarch standing at the helm of the rival Logan brand's launch event was enough to send shockwaves through the audience, paralyzing the room in a state of absolute, unadulterated disbelief. In the VIP section, Steffi's lips initially curled into a confident, predatory smile. Her immediate assumption was that her father had commandeered the stage to deliver a crushing, fatal blow to the Logan brand. She fully expected Ridge to publicly announce the looming, multi-million-dollar lawsuit over Eric Forrester's stolen designs, to humiliate Bill and Katie in front of the global press, and to aggressively reclaim their family's stolen glory. Brooke watched her husband with bated breath, her heart swelling with anticipation, entirely convinced that Ridge was about to fiercely defend the Forrester legacy and put an end to the Spencer-Logan uprising once and for all. They braced themselves for a declaration of war, completely unaware that they were about to be hit by a catastrophic betrayal from within. Ridge leaned into the microphone, his broad shoulders carrying the immense, crushing weight of the words he was about to speak. His voice was steady, yet laced with a profound, heavy sorrow that echoed through the cavernous hall. He did not speak of lawsuits, theft, or corporate retaliation. Instead, he dropped a nuclear bomb on the Los Angeles fashion world, a revelation so monumental that it threatened to tear the very fabric of their reality apart. Looking directly out into the sea of stunned faces, Ridge boldly and clearly announced that he was not there to condemn the Logan brand, but to support it. He proudly declared to the world that he was the new, primary strategic investor for the Logan fashion house, funneling his immense personal wealth and industry expertise into the very company seeking to destroy his family's empire. The words hung in the air like a physical, devastating strike, shattering the illusion of Forrester invincibility in a matter of seconds. In the audience, Steffi and Brooke were frozen, their elegant postures rigid as their expressions violently morphed from arrogant anticipation to sheer, unadulterated horror. The flashing bulbs of the paparazzi went into a blinding frenzy, perfectly capturing the exact, tragic moment the Forrester matriarchy completely shattered. Steffi's confident smile dissolved into a mask of pure agony, her eyes wide with a frantic, desperate confusion as her brain struggled to process the impossible reality unfolding before her. The man who had raised her, the man whose legacy she had fought so ruthlessly to protect, was standing on enemy territory, funding the very people trying to ruin them. Ridge continued his unprecedented speech, his eyes searching the crowd as he attempted to explain the psychological and emotional reasoning behind his shocking betrayal. He spoke passionately of the endless, toxic, and generational war between the Forresters, the Logans, and the Spencers, a war that had recently spiraled into unacceptable violence and heartbreak. He alluded to the devastating firing of Will Spencer, the alienation of brilliant visionary talent like Hope Logan and Zen Forrester Dominguez, and the suffocating corporate atmosphere that was destroying their family from the inside out. Ridge earnestly explained that he had secretly invested in the Logan brand to force a permanent bridge between the warring empires, firmly believing that by tying their financial and creative fates together, he could finally put an end to the bloodshed and the ruthless corporate warfare once and for all. Down in the audience, the explanation offered no comfort. It only deepened the agonizing wound. The physical toll of the betrayal hit Steffi with the force of a freight train. The oxygen seemingly vanished from her lungs, and she physically swayed, her knees buckling beneath her as a wave of dizzying nausea washed over her. Steffi almost fainted right there on the red carpet, the crushing, suffocating weight of the betrayal proving too much for her body to bear. She felt as though a jagged blade had been driven directly into her back by the one person she trusted above all others. She had sacrificed her relationships, alienated her stepsister Hope, and ruthlessly guarded the co-CEO chair to protect her father's company, only to have him secretly funnel his resources into the hands of Bill Spencer. It was the ultimate unforgivable stab in the back. Beside her, Brooke was trapped in her own agonizing nightmare, utterly devastated by the magnitude of her husband's deception. Her mind raced frantically, unable to comprehend how the man she shared her life, her bed, and her deepest secrets with could keep something of this colossal scale completely hidden from her. She had alienated her own flesh and blood, violently striking Katie in a desperate bid to defend Forrester Creations and secure her own place at Ridge's side. She had begged and pleaded for the co-CEO position to help him run the company, completely oblivious to the fact that Ridge was secretly negotiating with the enemy in the shadows. The profound betrayal of their marriage was a staggering blow, leaving Brooke feeling foolish, isolated, and entirely broken by the realization that she did not know her husband at all. In the wings of the grand stage, the true victors of the night watched the chaos unfold with varying degrees of satisfaction. Bill Spencer's triumphant, predatory smirk practically glowed in the dim light, his grand, ruthless plan for total corporate domination having achieved the impossible. He had essentially bought the Forrester patriarch. Katie stood tall, her intuition validated and her brand success now irrevocably secured by the ultimate fashion heavyweight. Meanwhile, Hope Logan Spencer and Deke Sharp exchanged looks of pure, exhilarated disbelief, suddenly realizing that their risky, secret defection to the Logan brand now had the absolute financial and creative backing of Ridge Forrester himself. The Spencer-Logan alliance was no longer just a threat. It was an unstoppable juggernaut. As Ridge finally concluded his speech and stepped down from the podium, the initial, paralyzing shock began to wear off, replaced by a dark, consuming rage. Steffi recovered from her near faint, her momentary physical weakness transforming into a blinding, white-hot fury that radiated from her very core. She pushed her way through the murmuring, chaotic crowd, intercepting her father before he could retreat to the safety of the VIP lounge. The confrontation was explosive, a raw, visceral clash of titans that silenced the surrounding onlookers. Her voice, trembling with a volatile mixture of profound heartbreak and unyielding rage, cut through the celebratory noise of the launch. She looked the man who had shaped her entire existence dead in the eye and vehemently declared him a traitor to his family, a traitor to his company, and a traitor to the very name he carried. Steffi did not stop at mere accusations of betrayal. Her grief fueled a chilling, terrifying resolve. With the ruthless, calculating precision of a true corporate dictator, she made a solemn, devastating vow that would echo through the pristine halls of Forrester Creations for decades to come. Trembling with absolute conviction, Steffi swore to her father that she would systematically and ruthlessly erase Ridge Forrester's name from the company's history. Every iconic design, every commemorative plaque, every lingering memory of his leadership would be purged from the building. She promised to dismantle his legacy piece by piece, ensuring that the Forrester empire would move forward as if he had never existed. It was the ultimate psychological warfare, a daughter violently disowning her father's life's work in retaliation for his treason. The father-daughter relationship, once considered the unbreakable, foundational bedrock of Forrester Creations, was officially and deeply fractured, perhaps beyond any hope of repair. Ridge stared at his daughter, the devastating reality of his actions washing over him. In his desperate, misguided attempt to force peace upon their warring families, he had inadvertently created a monster. He saw a CEO so entirely consumed by power, rivalry, and a sense of absolute betrayal that she was willing to burn her own father's legacy to the ground. The profound tragedy of his strategic investment was that instead of ending the war, he had only ignited a far deadlier, more personal conflict that would leave no survivors. The launch event concluded not just as a monumental, historic victory for the Logan brand, but as the tragic, definitive funeral for the Forrester family as the world knew it. With Ridge now inextricably aligned with Bill, Katie, Hope, Wyatt, and Will, Forrester Creations stood entirely isolated. Steffi was left alone on her throne, a solitary queen ruling over an empire that had just lost its king to the enemy. The battle lines of Los Angeles fashion have been permanently and violently redrawn, setting the stage for a corporate and familial blood